Dawn Richard just dropped an audio recording of Diddy allegedly instructing her and fellow Danity Kane member Aubrey O'Day to take part in explicit acts, and the internet is absolutely exploding. We're only 2 weeks into Diddy's federal trial, and the chaos is already out of control. Things took a dark turn when Cassie shared disturbing testimony about what she endured with Diddy, but then Dawn took the stand right after and completely shook things up. The fallout was massive, and the revelations just kept coming. It's worth noting that Dawn still has an open lawsuit against Diddy, so no surprise, she came ready to talk. Beyond her claims of mistreatment, she also alleged that Diddy forced her and Aubrey into inappropriate situations right inside the recording studio. The more we think we've seen it all, the more shocking it gets. And it's only getting wilder from here, so brace yourself. Cassie had to cut her testimony short because she's 8.5 months pregnant, and federal prosecutors urged Diddy's team to move faster so she could be done with it. No one should be going through something that heavy while so far along in pregnancy. But the drama didn't pause. When Dawn stepped up, everything flared right back up. She told the court that she witnessed Diddy physically assault Cassie. Cassie had already testified for 4 days, describing years of emotional and physical abuse during their relationship from 2007 to 2018. Dawn specifically recalled a 2009 incident at Diddy's LA home, where she claimed he tried to hit Cassie with a skillet, then kicked her. The next day, Dawn said Diddy threatened her and another person, warning them to stay quiet or risk disappearing. That wasn't the end of it. She said she frequently saw Cassie with injuries and described being a first-hand witness to punches, slaps, choking, and even Diddy kicking Cassie in the stomach. Whether it was because Cassie was speaking up or not, Dawn wasn't sure. She also said Diddy's staff, including bodyguards, saw the abuse but never stepped in. As expected, Diddy's legal team tried to discredit her, pointing out inconsistencies in her story from the 2009 event. But oddly enough, they didn't press too hard, almost like they were afraid she might reveal something even worse. Don't forget, she filed that messy lawsuit against him last year. While Diddy has faced countless rumors over the years, hearing Dawn's name caught people off guard. She had always been seen as one of the few who spoke positively about him. After Danity Kane split up, she was the only one who stayed with his label, which led many to believe she shared a close, maybe even favored relationship with him. She even appeared on his latest album, Love, which came out just weeks before Cassie filed her lawsuit, making the timing look suspicious. What's more confusing is how vocal Dawn has always been about being loyal to Diddy, publicly thanking him for helping her escape a bad contract and claiming she'd always be grateful. She even once called him her homie for life.
We should.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ever since you went independent, do you talk to Diddy?
Not as often as I'd like, but that's the homie forever.
Yeah.
People will never understand that relationship. You know, like, people didn't know that Puff had bought me out of a contract prior to even getting on the show.
Really?
So I had loyalty to that, you know, and that's a respect that I understand, that I loved my group, and I know that it wasn't I chose Puff over my group at the time. It was more of, when someone does that, where I come from, you got to respect that on a large level. So I gave loyalty to him, and I think I'll never forget that. And my father and my mother, for what we gone through, we'll never forget that. And I think with all his crazy, I look at things like that as loyalty. So
she also claimed that she had no bad story about Diddy.
Now, and that's it. You know, it wasn't all perfect. It wasn't all great.
Yeah.
He's exactly what people say he is, but he's also, he gave me a shot. I don't have the story that you have. I have I got out alive.
Yeah.
And I got out with a business. And I don't have no bad stories. That was only support. So if you do good by other people, they'll do good by you.
I agree.
Because of everything that's come out, people are seriously divided over her lawsuit. Some think she made it all up to cash in while Diddy's at rock bottom. But if you actually stop and pay attention, she's been hinting for a while that things weren't as picture perfect as they seemed. In one interview, she literally said it wasn't perfect and that she was lucky to get out alive. You don't say stuff like that unless something really dark went down. It's like she was sending signals, trying to speak her truth without outright saying it, especially because Diddy still had serious power when she spoke out. And honestly, can you blame her for staying silent for so long? This is the same guy who allegedly blew up Kid Cudi's car and told people he could make them vanish. That's not someone you just take on. especially as a woman in the industry who's already dealt with a lot. So yeah, she stayed quiet, played along, stroked his ego, and waited. And when the timing was finally right, she didn't hold anything back. She dropped the truth, loud and clear. She backed Cassie up, saying she saw Diddy get violent with her multiple times. She tried to help Cassie, but Diddy allegedly threatened to end her. The court docs say Miss Richards saw Diddy brutally assault Cassie, choking, hitting her with his hands and objects, even throwing a scalding pan. She tried to help her leave, but every time Diddy found out, he'd lose it and threatened her life, saying things like, "You want to die today? I make people disappear." And remember when Cassie said Diddy used to hit her in front of people and nobody stepped in? Dawn said he once punched Cassie right in front of Neo and Usher, who didn't even react, just kept eating. She wrote, about a dinner in West Hollywood with celebs like Neo and Usher. Diddy argued with Cassie, whispered at her in rage, and then punched her in the stomach. She doubled over in pain. Dawn helped her out of the restaurant, but Diddy stayed behind like nothing happened. Dawn also backed up Little Rod's claims about Diddy inviting underage girls to the studio and having them do questionable things. She said he'd hold parties with barely dressed young people using illegal substances, and that Diddy and his crew would kiss, grope, and touch the girls inappropriately. Many left to hook up and came back like nothing happened. She also talked about how badly he treated the Danity Kane girls during making the band. She said he denied them basic needs like food and sleep. When they asked to eat or rest, he mocked them, saying, "You bees don't want this, or you're not hungry enough." And apparently, Diddy stayed up for days while high and forced them to work nonstop, sometimes 36 to 48 hours straight. And when Dawn finally tried to stand up for herself, she said one of Diddy's guys locked her in an unheated car during winter. She screamed, but no one came. It was freezing. Her coat was in the studio, no heat, no light, no way to call for help, and all she could think about were Diddy's threats. She panicked, terrified, feeling trapped, wondering if she'd ever be let out. She testified to all of this. And guess what? No reports of Diddy's lawyers denying any of it. Makes you think, maybe because it's all true. But wait, there's more. Guess who else is set to testify? Aubrey O'Day. And you already know it's about to get explosive because she's made it clear. She hates Diddy. She's openly supporting Dawn, which isn't shocking given their shared history. Aubrey says she went through the same stuff. Dawn did. Looking back, the warning signs were screaming. Making the band was chaos, but no one questioned it because messy reality TV was the norm back then. People saw it as entertainment. Even stuff like America's Next Top Model was wild, and no one batted an eye. So when Diddy screamed at contestants, made them walk to Brooklyn for cheesecake, and broke them down mentally, no one was shocked. But Aubrey, she pushed back. She called him out. She didn't back down, and that didn't sit well with him. Their clashes were constant. She saw through the act and refused to play along. And now, all these years later, it's clear. She was trying to warn us long before the rest of the world was ready to hear it.
Can I ask a question? What do you want to look like, though? Do you want to look like a playboy, playmate? Do you want to look like you?
I'm done with all of that.
No.
Like,
what do you want to look like, though?
I'll tell you.
What do you want to look like, though?
I'll tell you. I'm not focused on me. I'm focused on what this group should look like and how I should fit in this situation.
You like big hair, though.
I don't like big hair.
You do like big hair. You like big hair. You like a lot of makeup and all that.
Actually, I don't. I don't like big hair. I don't like certain makeup. I'm very flexible with what you want to do, and I've worked with everything that you've thrown
I'm not
at
seeing the flexibility. You gaming me.
Your hair people came in today and they said this is how it needs to be.
You know what I'm talking about.
Care.
You're pushing your own image, though.
I'm not worried about whether my hair is straight, curly, whatever. I'm not here in a group to have curly, straight, big, makeup, whatever. I'm here in a group to sing with my group, and that is all I care about. For real. Like, maybe you just don't get me and we don't get each other.
Because if I pulled in all of the makeup artists and all of the hair people, they would not say that.
With the wardrobe, did I not try and cover up all the problem areas that I've been seeing were not cute?
Yes, we had that conversation yesterday.
And Aubrey, she wasn't about to let Diddy push her into being someone she wasn't. She made that clear from day one. Turns out their constant clashes may have had more going on beneath the surface than just creative disagreements. Word on the street is, Diddy allegedly tried to get with her, and not just her, but some of the other girls too. When they didn't go along with it, everything changed. He allegedly flipped on them, giving them attitude, icing them out, and acting completely out of pocket. Worst part, they couldn't even speak up about any of it because they were bound by strict NDAs. So they were stuck in silence, forced to deal with everything behind the scenes. even after the band fell apart, Diddy still tried to keep control over them. But Aubrey, she wasn't handing him that power again. Just look at what happened right before Cassie filed her lawsuit. Diddy made a huge deal out of giving his old artists their masters back, acting like he was doing something noble. But behind the scenes, it was a whole different story. Turns out, he already knew Cassie's lawsuit was coming, and this was just a way to get some positive PR before everything hit the fan. Sure, he gave the masters back, but only after making the artists sign NDAs, basically agreeing to stay silent about anything shady that happened at Bad Boy Records. He told the public, "It's not just about doing the right thing. We as an industry, as a people, need to look in the mirror and make a shift. It's about growth, setting the example, and reforming an industry that needs change in a world that needs change. I want people to know this isn't a PR stunt." But what he didn't say was that everyone had to agree to keep quiet before getting anything back. On the outside, it looked like he was finally doing right by them. But now that the truth is coming out, it's obvious there was more to the story. Diddy saw the storm coming and tried to paint himself as the good guy before the damage hit, but not everyone bought it. A few of his former artists saw straight through the act and refused to play along, including Aubrey.
Okay? And in order to get that, I have to release him for any claims or wrongdoings or actions prior to the date of the release. I have to sign an NDA that I will never disparage Puff, Bad Boy, Janice Combs, or Justin Combs' music, or EMI, or Sony ever in public.
So that you just got recently for this thing?
I got it a few months ago when he started doing this. So what's happening is artists, some of them, not all of them, are being given streaming royalties and ownership back over our publishing on songs that we wrote. At a time when you know that you have to stream a song 1,000,000 times to make a cent.
Yeah.
Okay? It's hundreds of dollars. And me as somebody that's a girl's girl, I hit everyone in my group and said, absolutely do not take this deal.
Aubrey didn't hold back when she called out Diddy for trying to make the whole master handover look like this big, generous gesture. In reality, she claimed those masters weren't even worth that much. According to her, they were only valued at around $800 or $900, definitely under $1,000. So, while Diddy was out here pretending like he was handing people the keys to their legacy, he was really just tossing them scraps in return for their silence. But Aubrey wasn't having it. She didn't just refuse to sign the NDA, she also convinced the other Danity Kane girls not to sign either. And she wasn't just saying it to stir the pot. Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, actually came forward and backed her up.
All his artists, well, he gave them their publishing back. I'm gonna give y'all publishing, but y'all can't talk about Janice Combs, Justin Combs, Sony, Bad Boy, or anything that happened. Y'all can't talk about none of that. But there's some artists that didn't say anything, that didn't sign it, and they able to talk about anything they want to. And I think that's those girls that was, I think Danity Kane. I think a couple of them didn't sign it.
Since Aubrey never signed that NDA, she's free to speak on her time with Diddy, and she hasn't held back. She's been airing everything out, exposing how Diddy would intentionally stir up drama and turn the girls against one another just to keep control over the group.
Awards, etc., Grammys, same with girls. The stories that we have to tell during a time in music where there were gatekeepers, there were people that owned labels like Puff running things, and the way that the divisions and the divisiveness occurred, and the things that we experienced between each other and us against the system are insane.
Remember how Diddy was always obsessed with telling people how to dress and behave? Well, it turns out it may have gone way beyond just image control. Allegedly, he was pimping the girls out to other men, and he wanted them to look a certain way specifically for the guys he was supposedly setting them up with.
We were in the studio, and I said something to him and walked out the studio. He said, yo, I'm gonna take south and pick them up and pimp them out to my, he said, I'm gonna them out. I'm gonna get them all on, and I'm gonna pimp their ass out to my. I was like, somebody kids, and walked out, and it's somebody that heard me. It's somebody that heard me.
But if you thought things couldn't get any worse, think again. The trial is still unfolding, and word on the street is that Aubrey's testimony might include audio evidence of Diddy allegedly forcing her and Don to get intimate in the studio, just because he randomly felt like having a freak-off right then and there. And with everything Aubrey knows about Diddy, let's just say her testimony is going to be explosive. This whole situation is beyond wild. But now, I want to hear what y'all think. Drop your thoughts and reactions in the comments below.